Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nirvasesha Sundavari Paskachada Satarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Go Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hey Mukunda, or does anyone have a clock with a backlit? Because I can't see this, so I don't know. Even though the clock is here, does someone have something that's lit? All right, sorry to lose you. Just I need something that I can push so I can actually see what time it is, or the light, or it stays lit. Thanks.
You touch the top.
Yeah, that'll work. All righty. Thank you, Prabhu. So yesterday was the disappearance day of Sanatana Goswami. According to our tradition, the disappearance is considered more important than the appearance, because at the disappearance, these great personalities have manifest their pastimes, their teachings, their activities. So yesterday was the disappearance of Sanatana Goswami, and here is a short presentation. Appeared in 1488 in the Jessore district of Bangladesh. It's Bangladesh now. At one time, Bengal was all one. Then it was considered East Bengal, West Bengal. Then East Bengal became East Pakistan. Then it became Bangladesh. So everything gets split up. At the time, East Bengal was a center of Vaishnav study and scholarships. Many great personalities appeared in, and you can go anyway, because I don't want to get too far afield. You can go to the actual birthplace of Sanatana Goswami. All these things are there. At the time, it should be noted that Bengal was had a greater gross product. That's grains, cotton, cloth, all the so many different things. It was greater than France and Germany combined at the time. So it's very opulent. There's Lord Macaulay, when he toured Bengal at the behest of the Crown, British Crown, and the East India Company, that how are we going to control these people? And so he was sent on a mission. You can see that the government papers are there, and he was to study India and figure out how to rule them how to control them as a conquered people. And he writes that he didn't see a single poverty-stricken person in Bengal. Rather, the whole country was like a manicured garden. Now, in the meantime, you've got Dickens and horrible poverty and exploitation and all that stuff in London, killing smog fogs. So it was a most auspicious place and a center of learning, and that's where Sanatana Goswami appeared. In a noble family. Anyway, I don't want to get too far afield. And this slideshow, this is elaborately described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is a picture of Krishnadas Kaviraj, 90 years plus, writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it's just a sample for those of you who have not read the Chaitanya Charitamrita and who do not read it regularly. It is a treasure trove of wonderful Leela and philosophy and inspiration. So all this comes from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. They were born in the village of Ramakeli. They were wealthy, very wealthy. Their father was a top official in the government of the Muslim ruler, and previous to Nawab Hussain Shah. He comes on the stage later on. So they had a huge estate. They were also very wealthy zamindars, landholders, and government officials, their father. And so they named their estate Kadamba Kanana, and they made it like a model Brindavan. They built a Radhakund and a Shamakund. I mean, they were completely absorbed in Krishna Katha and Krishna Leela. This is Shamakund. This is the family temple on their estate. These are their deities. They named their deities Sri Madan Mohan, which will come into the stage later on. This is the family deities of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami, of course, is the older brother, 5 years older than Rupa Goswami. He received, as a young, he received the Bhagavatam from a learned Brahmin, came and gave him the Bhagavatam in a dream. And when he woke up, he was ecstatic, but no Bhagavatam, no Brahmin. So he was, dropped into the depths of despair. Then that morning, into the courtyard of their house, came a Brahmin with the gift of a Bhagavatam. We'll talk more about dreams. Well, let me just say something about dreams. Remind me, Mukunda, when we get to the next thing about a dream, to say something about dreams. So just to give a sample, this is a prayer by Sanatana Goswami to the Bhagavatam. So it gives you both an insight into how he was experiencing Bhagavatam, how he saw the Bhagavatam, how we should feel about the Bhagavatam. And it also is a sampling of his beautiful poetry and writing. On one hand, deeply profound and poetic, but also deeply personal, and there's a certain art that, stripped of all kinds of artifice, you really get the power of the truth by his writing. So I'm just going to read. This is Sanatana Goswami's praise of the Srimad Bhagavatam. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures, O singular transcendental fruit of all the Vedas, O rich mine of precious gems of all conclusive truths, O you who grant spiritual vision to all people of the world. O life breath of the Vaishnavas, O Lord, you are the sun risen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actually Krishna, Lord Krishna, returned amongst us. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my constant companion, O my spiritual master, O my great wealth, O my Savior, O my good fortune, O my source of bliss, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. And that's from the Krishna Lila Stava. So that just gives you a sample of Sanatana Goswami's. We'll see a letter by Sanatana Goswami in a moment. So Lord Chaitanya appeared to him in a dream. Now, by this time, Sanatana and Rupa, Sanatana Goswami was the prime minister for Nawab Hussain Shah, who was appointed by Akbar for all of Bengal, East Bengal, West Bengal, this powerful country, Nawab Hussain Shah. But he was busy conquering new lands. He was conquering Orissa and parts of Bihar. And, of course, he was held back by our Maharaja Prachaparuta. This is actually mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The great Maharaja Prachaparuta, servant of Lord Jagannath, he was holding back the Nawab Hussain Shah. But he was not only East and West Bengal, but parts of Bihar, parts of Orissa. So he was always out conquering. And the management of the kingdom was going on by Sanatana Goswami as the prime minister and Rupa Goswami as the finance minister. So they're in the middle of all this, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to them in a dream and said, don't become entangled. Don't get entangled. I want you to go to Brindavan. So he had this dream. Now, what to do about dreams? We have so many dreams, just as a sidelight. I was in Los Angeles I was sitting next to Jayadvaita Swami. It was the Prabhupada festival. A devotee came up to me, Prabhupada disciple, and he said, I had a dream last night. Prabhupada wants me to become a guru. Now, no doubt this person is a sincere devotee, but, he's on his third wife. He was thrown in jail for drug dealing. I mean, he's not really up to the standard of becoming a Diksha guru in ISKCON. But I had a dream. And I'm thinking, oh, geez, I'm going to have to take 45 minutes to explain this to him, and it's not going to go well. Jayadvaita Swami, my savior, stepped right in and said, oh, gee, that's funny. Because the man said, I had a dream. Prabhupada told me to become a guru. Jayadvaita Swami stepped right up and said, gee, that's funny. I had a dream last night, too. Prabhupada told me you shouldn't. So, one dream. So how do we have so many dreams? And was it, too much ghee and chili in the sabji last night, or is it revelation? So if we have a dream, that Krishna does come in dreams. There's many, many dreams of our great, but of course they're great pure acharyas. Their antennae are completely tuned. They have no anartas in their heart. Everything's lined up to get a clear signal. But if we get a dream, what do? We check with our spiritual master. We check with the senior devotees. We get confirmation. Then if you get confirmation, that's something else. But just because I had a dream, and it doesn't matter. I had a dream and I should go to, whatever. So he met Lord Chaitanya, and Ramakeli, Lord Chaitanya came. Lord Chaitanya was actually on his way to Brindavan, but he detoured. There's that whole story in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Shringa Brahmacharis were trying to decorate the path to bring Lord Chaitanya to Brindavan, and his mind won't go beyond a certain point. He says, I don't think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to Brindavan. Sure enough, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu detoured, came to Ramakeli. Later on, he was asked why. He said, by Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Sanatana Goswami, I have come just to deliver you. These are great personalities, just as we don't want to go too far afield, but when Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just as Krishna comes, he brings his place, he brings his associates. Radharani won't come unless Govardhan Hill comes too. I mean, he brings his Leela down to this world. It descends. So in the same way, when Krishna comes again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Yuga avatar, to deliver us, he brings his dearest, beloved associates come with him. These are Nitya Siddhas, eternally liberated associates of Krishna. So this is a letter that Sanatana Goswami, this is Sanatana Goswami's handwriting. It's a letter that he wrote after Lord Chaitanya came to him. It said, I've come just to deliver you. After Lord Chaitanya came to him in a dream, then he's got these huge governmental responsibilities, so what to do? So he wrote to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya wrote back, very short letter. We don't have that letter, at least I don't have it, but Lord Chaitanya wrote back, and he said, just as you should act, if a wife has a secret lover, she acts even more responsibly in her duties. So that was all he said. Sanatana Goswami could immediately understand. Anyone know what the purport of this is?
Yeah. That you should continue doing your duties very nicely.
Within your heart, you meditate. Within your heart, you'll be thinking about Krishna, and you'll be thinking about me and my instructions. And you very carefully do your duties. We'll find out why in a minute. You very carefully do your duties. And I'll take care of it. Don't worry. You just stay where you are, be responsible, and meditate on me, and you meditate on Krishna. So it's nice to see Rupa Goswami's handwriting. I mean, Sanatana Goswami's. So, this again, Nawab Hussain Shah, you have to understand how powerful he was. Hare Krishna Bhakti, you got your mask, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So Sanatana Goswami, he just gave up his duties. On one hand, after some time, he just couldn't do it. And this is a common experience. Once people become devotees, they just can't stay with the job, stay with the, they just can't stay at it. So he surrounded himself, in his estate, Kadamba Kanana, designed like Brindavan. He built a beautiful pavilion. And he and Rupa Goswami had over 100 Brahmins teaching them Srimad Bhagavatam and all the different Shastras and discussing like that. And he was sending messages, oh, I'm too sick, I can't come, I can't come to tend to my duties, I'm too sick. Actually, things were going on. His envious assistants, it's always like that, there's always politics, well, he's out, we'll get the post. So they were doing extra double duty, things were going on, and he was at home reading Bhagavatam. And Nawab Hussain Shah was furious. He was very affectionate. He came and said, why are you submitting these reports? My doctor has come, my physician has checked you, you're not sick. Sanatana Goswami said, you are the king, is the representative of the Supreme Lord. Just as the Supreme Lord blesses and chastises according to his own sweet will, you can do whatever you want. I'm not coming to work anymore. Talk about truth to power. So the Nawab Hussain Shah was just going to attack Orissa. He was going, and everything was set up. He was leaving. So he didn't want Sanatana Goswami to flee like Rupa. Rupa Goswami had already left and gone to Brindavan. So he was worried what to do. So he threw him in jail. So here, and this is historical. You can go. This is the palace of Nawab Hussain Shah about 500 years ago. You can go there. This is the prison. As a site like that dome, we think we're so sophisticated. Modern architecture, it's like the dome at the Hagia Sophia, or what is that? Anyway, in Istanbul, they can't figure out how the dome's suspended. They can't figure out how there's no support under this dome, no buttresses, no columns. And it's all done by, anyway, it's a long story. So this is the jail. This is the jail that Sanatana Goswami was thrown in. Now, Sanatana Goswami, just like Prabhupada, Prabhupada was completely fixed in transcendence. I remember Hayagriva wrote this great line, Prabhupada's consciousness was in Brindavan, but he had both feet solidly on the ground. And there's so many, we're waiting for Giriraj Maharaj's book about Juhu. Prabhupada was, so in the same fashion, he was a prime minister. He was a very practical, he knew how to do things. So he told the jailer that he had some gold coins. Rupa Goswami had left some gold coins for him to help with the grocer. That's how they did the banking in those days. So he got some of those gold coins, and he told the jailer, he said, I want to go on pilgrimage. And he let it be thinking, though, he's going to go to Mecca. I'm going to go. So Hajj. And if you help someone go on pilgrimage, you get the benefit. If A equals B and B equals C, two things equal to the same thing, equal to each other. So if you help someone go on Hajj, you get the benefit. So Sanatana Goswami said, I'm going to go on pilgrimage, and you will get the benefit. And, you can picture a gruff, and you're very learned, you can understand all of these. They praised him in so many. And the guy was affected, but he didn't really go over the edge. So Sanatana Goswami, we just worked it perfectly. Oh, and by the way, I can also give you some gold coins. So he was that tipped him over, but he was intelligent. He said, but what will happen? I let you go. The Nawab, when the king comes back, I'm going to be in hot water. So no, you just say I went down to the river to bathe and I escaped. Well, where's the body? Why didn't I chase you? Well, you tell him that I just fell in the river. And because I still had my shackles on, heavy iron, I just went to the bottom of the river, therefore no body. No evidence. So it was a perfect ruse, and I think he added a few more gold coins in, and the jailer said, all right, let him go. So he escaped, but there's a whole, again, it's so wonderfully described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's a whole series. Ultimately, he gets to, he can't go on the government path, so he's trying to go over these hills, the jungle hills, but how to do it, and where's the path? So he's staying at an inn, and the innkeeper, he says, can you please help me? And the innkeeper says, actually, I have an astrologer, and I was going to kill you, because my astrologer says you have some gold coins. Sanatana Goswami didn't know that there were any more. His servant Ishan was carrying these gold coins secretly. So Sanatana Goswami said, please take these gold coins and help me get it, And the innkeeper was so moved by Sanatana Goswami's saintly demeanor and self, he said, no, you keep the gold coins, I'll take you over, And Sanatana Goswami said, you kill me or some of these coins are a death knell, you just take them. So he gave them, and then he helped them cross over the hills. He had one, Ishan still held on to one gold coin, his servant. So Sanatana Goswami said, you take that gold coin and you go home. And there's an old Brajbasi picture, you can't find it now, but they used to have it in the Laguna Beach Temple, and it shows all these different steps of Sanatana Goswami meeting Lord Chaitanya coming to him in a dream, sending him a letter of assurance, all the, and ultimately getting out of the jail. And the last thing you see that he gives Ishan, and Ishan goes, and then you see Sanatana Goswami dancing down the road, that he's finally free and going to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Benares, with Varanasi, sometimes also called Kasi. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, and it's a whole story described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But the house where he was staying, Lord Chaitanya said, someone is outside. You will find a nice Vaishnav outside. Please bring him in. So I don't know, it was Chandrasekhar or Tapan Mishra, I forget whose house it was. They went outside. All they saw was a haggard Muslim beggar. So they came and said, no, there's no Vaishnav out there. There's a haggard, you can imagine Sanatana Goswami traveling, not on the government, through the jungle paths and over the hills, and he had been fasting, so many things, very difficult journey. And, Yeah, he had a beard, thank you. He had a big beard. So, what to do? So, I didn't know this, but by the way, the Nawab Hussain Shah gave Rupa and Sanatana Goswami their name, Dabir Khas and Sakir Malik. And this was a great honor. To get a Muslim name from the Muslim ruler was like, a title like Sir or something like that, your Highness or whatever. So it was a great honor. They were greatly respected and needed by Nawab Hussain Shah. Anyway, so on his travels, Sanatana Goswami had met his brother-in-law. And his brother-in-law saw him in this, bedraggled condition and explained it to, he was there buying horses for the Muslim ruler. And so he saw his brother-in-law, and he said, you clean yourself up, you stay with me, I'll arrange for a royal, passage for you to get. Sanatana Goswami said, I will not even spend 1 hour here. Left immediately. But his brother-in-law gave him this nice, a cashmere nice chadar, made from the hair of a goat, special, very nice, expensive chadar. So when Sanatana Goswami told Tapan Mishra or Chandrasekhar, you shave him up, you give him a bath, you get him all cleaned up, and make him, this is Sanatana Goswami. Immediately he stood up and embraced Sanatana Goswami, to the shock of everyone. Then said, you get him cleaned up, you get him shaved. But he still had this chadar. So Lord Chaitanya didn't say anything. And this is a sign of a disciple. A servant, without even being told, understands what to do. That's the best. You're told and then you do it well. That's good. And even you're told you don't do it well or you shine it on, that's the worst. So there's different types of disciples. So Sanatana Goswami could immediately understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's little glance. And so immediately he goes down to the river, and there's some beggar and who's washing his torn quilt. And he says, please take this expensive chadar. The beggar says, why are you mocking me? I'm already down enough on my luck. No, I mean it. All described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, this is the renunciation of Sanatana Goswami. So, Sanatana Goswami's famous question, he said that everyone calls me Pandit, and Prabhupada describes he spoke 5 languages, he was the prime minister, all these different, deeply learned in the Shastra. But he said, I don't know the key thing. We know Prabhupada's story, I won't tell it, but 100% you've wasted if you don't know how to swim and the boat sinks. You may know so many other things. So he said, everyone calls me Pandit, but I don't know who I am and why do the threefold miseries always give me trouble. And you can talk to any big person. Who are they? Where were you in your previous life? Where are you going? What happens at the time of death? The one thing, nothing is certain but death and taxes. And you can even dodge taxes, but you cannot dodge death. So what happens? Oh, I don't know. I'll worry about it when I get there. So how are you a learned person? So I don't know these things. So he surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He studied for 2 months. He was initiated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Benares, in Kashi. This is the tree. And this is the same, this tree, they take seeds and they continue. It's the same tree in that same line from the original tree under which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu initiated Sanatana Goswami. So he spent time with in Jagannath Puri with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there's so many wonderful pastimes, but this would be too long. We'll do a separate one on that sometime. This is, he was sent to Brindavan by Lord Chaitanya. He was given 4 orders by Lord Chaitanya. Write books, uncover pastime places, install deities, exemplify and codify the rules of bhakti life. Show by example, and also write down how to be a devotee. I mean, what do we know about so many? How do you become a devotee? And so there it is. So these are the 4 orders from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Sanatana Goswami. So he's in Brindavan, just to give you a mood of Brindavan, the transcendent. This is the Jamuna River. That's his Madan Mohan. We'll hear about that in a moment in the background. This is Barsana, Radharani's place. This is Keshi Ghat, where Krishna killed the Keshi demon. I can tell you frankly, I went to Brindavan in 1973, and we bathed in the Yamuna. We would go every day and read Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I was with SanDiego Brahmacharis. This is, I said 73. Oh, so then I was with the Detroit devotees. But even when I went, anyway, the point is that I remember saying Gayatri in the Jamuna River, and it was so up to my waist, I could see my feet. I could see fish. There were turtles going. You could see all these things in the. We drank that, and the water was sweet. So Sanatana Goswami, I was saying how these great personalities, they descend, just like Prabhupada said, like an elevator or an escalator. You from a higher platform, you come down. So they came down to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just as he's one of the 8 gopis, just as they're serving eternally with Krishna in Brindavan, Goloka Brindavan. So they similarly come down with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his pastimes. Rupa Sanatan, the other. So they were crown jewels of the Vaishnava community. He spent 43 years in Brindavan. This is just an example of the things that were going on. It was Rupa Goswami's birthday. Sanatana Goswami's birthday. Sanatana Goswami's birthday. And Rupa Goswami wanted to cook something. Rupa Goswami saw Sanatana Goswami as his spiritual master. So he wanted to cook something on his spiritual, but he's, living under a different tree every day, they're living on a little bit of buttermilk. Sometimes they would forget to even, a little pat of yogurt, some dried grains, some fried chickpeas, a handful, sometimes forgetting to do that. So you can just imagine. So how is he going to cook? All of a sudden, a beautiful village girl, in fact, it's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Rupa Goswami said he'd never seen this girl before in the village, and she was incredibly beautiful. She said, "Oh, Swamiji, I know you're out here in the forest, and I know you want to cook something. I brought something for you." Turns out she bought milk, ghee, camphor, sugar. So Rupa Goswami cooked this we can only imagine, this fantastic sweet rice preparation with black pepper and camphor and all that, and brought it to Sanatana Goswami. We were describing how Prabhupada was a transcendental Sherlock Holmes. Sanatana Goswami was very grateful to his brother, of course, but he said, wait a minute, where did you get all these ingredients? You're living under a different, And Rupa said, the thing is, this beautiful girl came. Sanatana Goswami began chastising his brother. You've taken service from Srimati Radharani. So we're chanting Hare Krishna, which, oh my Lord, please engage me in service. But we're thinking, oh, Krishna, solve this. Krishna, bring me that. Krishna, win the lottery. Krishna, I don't want this. Krishna, Krishna, do it, for me, for me, for me. But the actual mood is, we don't want to take service. Oh, this is Manasa Gangi. There's a whole Ganga. There's a whole story out of Krishna's mind. Well, anyway, I don't want to tell the whole story. This is Ganga manifest in Brindavan. It's right in the middle of Govardhan Hill. It's beautiful. So Rupa Goswami would go. They had different bhajan kutirs, different places they would chant. So he would sometimes sit on the banks of Manasa Ganga and chant. And across the Kund, this is where he used to chant. It was famous. It had mosquitoes. It was Lord Shiva's place. People didn't go there very much because there were a whole lot of mosquitoes. So Sanatana Goswami said, well, let me chant there. No one will come and pester me, and I can do my bhajan. But the mosquitoes were too much. He was going to leave. Lord Shiva personally came and said that you're here chanting in my place. I'm so honored. Don't worry, I'll take care of the mosquitoes. And even to this day, you go there, there's no mosquitoes. It's no flies, no mosquitoes. It's a very far out place. Because you know what it's like in summer in Vrindavan. So he's sitting there chanting, mosquito-less, meditating on, so many things. And across the Kund, he saw these beautiful girls come down, and they were bathing. They come down, and they get their water, and young girls, they're laughing, they're joking, they're swinging, singing beautiful bhajans. And they were all serving this one girl in the middle. And he was looking, and he could understand, this is Srimati Radharani. It's described that down, and he wrote it later on, it was described that her braid was like a dark black snake. There's a whole pastime, Rupa Goswami edited it, and he didn't like this analogy, that like a black snake. This isn't, beautiful, delicate Srimati Radharani's got a black snake. So in a dream, Radharani appeared to him and chastised him and said, no, I like this analogy. So Rupa Goswami went back to Sanat and said, no, leave it in. She likes it. You leave that in, So here's a picture of Srimati Radharani. It's a whole pastime. Here's Krishna braiding her hair, a beautiful black braid, like a black snake. So another place he used to do his bhajan is by Nandagram. And you can see it's all falling apart now. If someday, if you ever have money, we should renovate these places, because it's his bhajan kutir is there. It's just a pile of bricks now. And there's some old sadhus that are tending it as best they can. But if you look, he showed me, if you look over this little hill, and it looks right down into this Kund, which is at the bottom of the hill. You'll see the hill at Nandagram. And Sanatana Goswami used to sit there because every afternoon, Krishna and the cowherd boys coming home to Nandagram, they would be dancing. They were playing in Govardhan. So they would come back from... Brindavan can open and close like a lotus. If they want to take a long time, the distance expands. When they're in a hurry, they want to get back, it closes. So they would traverse back, and they would you can picture this Kund, Sanatana Goswami peeking through the bushes watching as Krishna and all of his cowherd boys and Balaram, they're all bathing and playing in this Kund before they go back to Nanda Maharaj's place. So this is Nandagram, the palace of Nanda Maharaj. And that Kund is at the bottom to the left there. And these are the deities. You see Mother Yasoda's on our left, Nanda Maharaj on the right with a nice mustache, and Krishna and Balaram in the middle. So these are the deities in Nandagram at the top of the hill. So, Sanatana Goswami used to meditate. It's the highest hill. This was his bhajan kutir. He could sit there and see all of Brindavan. And we've got a picture of that in a moment. And that's his bhajan kutir. We used to sit and chant. Now it's also the Madan Mohan Temple is there. But he was the unofficial mayor of Brindavan. I heard Prabhupada personally say this. And the devotees asked, what does that mean? And Prabhupada said that he would... if there were land disputes, because they didn't all go to the lawyer and you have to spend, blind justice, but really justice only if you bribe her, No. You go to a learned Brahmin, he would hear both sides, adjudicate the matter, and you're finished. It's done in 20 minutes. So, Prabhupada said even marital problems, they would come to him, husband and wife fighting, and he would give some good advice. Prabhupada said later on, and we are continuing this tradition. So here, Sanatana Goswami and the pastimes of Madan Mohan, which means the conqueror of Cupid. Everyone's bewildered by, Mohan means madness. Everyone's driven mad by Cupid. But Cupid is driven mad, is defeated by Krishna. So whatever material lust we have, it's defeated by if we develop our love for Krishna. So Madan Mohan, Sambandha, he's the beginning. So the deity of Madan Mohan, we're going to see how Madan Mohan and Sanatana Goswami stories are intertwined, was originally worshipped by Kubja. Krishna gave this deity, Madan Mohan, to Kubja to worship. After Krishna's disappearance, his grandson or great-grandson? Grandson? Brajanaba took over and brought the deity to Brindavan. Now you can imagine 5,000 years, things happen, deities manifest, unmanifest. You read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, sometimes they have to hide the deities from the Turkish soldiers. It's so many wonderful things in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Advaita Acharya rediscovered this 5,000-year-old deity, Madan Mohan, in Brindavan 500 years ago. And this is the place in Brindavan where he discovered the deity, hidden in, Actually, the deity manifest. Govinda Dev also did the same thing, Govinda Ji deity. So, this is the place, 1516, when he gave the deity to Damodar Chobe. Actually, he didn't want to give the deity up. What to do? He's traveling. He's going back to Brindavan, but back to Bengal, but he didn't want. He's such an attractive. What to do? Vishaka appeared to him in a dream and said he wants to stay in Brindavan. Advaita Acharya said, I'm not giving him up. Vishaka drew a beautiful picture of Krishna, said, you take this, you worship this picture, and you leave him here. So on that fair exchange, Advaita Acharya left Madan Mohan. He gave it to Damodar Chobe to worship. Now, the deity appeared to Sanatana Goswami in a dream, and he was playing by the Jamuna with all the cowherds, playing. Sanatana Goswami was so attracted, woke up from a dream, and the cowherd boys were there playing. And they were on their way home. He followed them home. Damodar Chobe's place is on the road to Mathura. So he followed him back, and he saw the other boys broke off. They went back to their own homes. And beautiful Krishna, who he'd seen playing in the Jamuna with by the banks, went into Damodar Chobe's house. So he went in to see. No cowherd boy. Only the deity Madan Mohan was standing there. In other words, it was Madan Mohan had brought him there. So, here it is. I think it's in the next slide. So Damodar Chobe, he worshipped in the Vatsalya Ras, parental Ras, and he used to chastise the deity. Oh, you haven't eaten all. He would offer the prasad. Oh, you haven't eaten everything. How will you stay healthy? You can imagine, it's far beyond our pay grade. Don't imitate, But he was worshiping in this way, in the mood of, chastising Krishna sometimes. Now, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, writes the Hari Bhakti Vilas. All the strict, careful details. You're worshiping, in the mood of awe and reverence. And here's Damodar Chobe chastising, something, So Sanatana Goswami straightened him up. Said, this is how you do worship, and you have to do it like this, and you have, And Damodar Chobe, because Sanatana Goswami, such a powerful, saintly person, and moved his heart, so he began worshiping very strictly. So Madan Mohan appeared to Sanatana Goswami in a dream and said, you spoiled it. I like the way he worshipped me. Just like when Lord Jagannath threw, Ramanujacharya threw him out of I like the way I'm being worshipped. It's a sidelight. How the deities are being worshipped, that's one of the elements the mood, the bhav of the local worship, that develops over time, and that's one of the elements of it. It should not be so casually changed. So anyway, but Sanatana Goswami, of course, knew what he was doing. So Madan Mohan appeared to Sanatana Goswami, said, "You spoiled it. Now, okay, now you take care of me." Sanatana Goswami, we know the pastime, said, "Well, I'm an old man, and you told me to write these books. What do you want? You want the books? You want the we saw the 4 orders he was given." So he began arguing with the deity. "Do you want me to do that? I'm your servant. You want me to worship you? I'll worship you. I'll take care, I'll make, but I don't have time to do the other 5. He was already not sleeping, maybe sleeping an hour, so what to do? So the deity said, no, you just keep me in a bush. You make a little, shed for me, a little kunj. And you offer me a little, Balaram was saying the other day, the dry bread ball. You just make a little dry bread ball, no problem. Dry it in the sun, no problem. So Sanatana Goswami said, okay. So, but how to get him there? Big, strong deity. So, transcendental strategy. Krishna told, Madan Mohan deity told him, you just go and sit out. Tomorrow you go to Damodar Chobi's house and sit outside. Don't worry, you just sit outside. So, Sanatana Goswami sits outside. All of a sudden, the wife of Damodar Chobe comes out. He sees, and this is all narrated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's in the notebooks of Sanatana Goswami and all the different associates. So this is not just romantic. The history is there. The places are there. The people are there. So, what to do? The wife comes out of Damodar Chobe, sees this saintly Brahmin, sadhu, sitting outside her door. Her son was deathly ill. She said, "Oh, Swamiji Maharaj, can you help?" Now, in those days, Brahmins were skilled in many, many, many different arts. What to speak of Sanatana Goswami? What's the time? Okay. Many, many arts. He came in, and he immediately knew exactly what to do and cured the boy. So the husband, Damodar Chobe, was out of station for a few days. So the wife was so grateful, saved her son's life, said, Maharaj, what can I give you? Anyone know what Sanatana Goswami asked for as dakshin for saving the boy's son? Oh, you just give me this deity. Now, he's big size, solid, and Sanatana Goswami's an old man, So she's smart, these intelligent, said, okay, if you can lift him, you can have him. So she doesn't have to break her word. He picked him up. He was as light as a feather. So she could understand he wants to go, so she let him go. Now the husband comes home a few days later. You can imagine, we came in here, Radhagiri and Hari are gone. I say, what happened? Ram says, oh, somebody asked, I gave the deity. I say, what? You can imagine. Immediately he went to Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir, said, I want my deity back. Sanatana Goswami said, what can I do? He says he wants to be here. If you can pick him up, you can take him. He let me bring him here. You just take him back. He couldn't move him. He couldn't even rock the stand. He couldn't even rock, what to speak of pickup. So Damodar Chobe was, all right, he'll stay here. Don't worry, it has a happy ending. We'll come to the happy ending in a moment as far as Damodar Chobe. So this is the view from the hill, looking down on the Jamuna where we saw the Bhajan Kutir. So Sanatana, this why it matters, the view. So Sanatana Goswami was sitting there, and just as Madan Mohan would sometimes turn into a cowherd boy and play and then turn back into the deity, this pastime was continued. Here's his Bhajan Kutir on top of the hill. So picture the Bhajan Kutir, picture the Jamuna River. Oh, before we get there. So every day, dry bread ball. After some time, the deity said, every day it's a dry bread ball. At least a little salt. Like, if you got a dry chapati, you can have a little pickle with it or something. You're like, it's raw, you got nothing to eat. You got a puri or a chapati, a little pickle, okay, you can get by, So at least a little salt. Sanatana Goswami says, oh, you want salt? Next you'll want ladus. Next year, So once again, you tell me what you want. So the deity said, no, that's all right. Forget the salt. We'll go back to the original agreement. Why that matters. Krishna's sense of humor and Krishna's love of his devotees, how he reciprocates. He was asking for a little bit of salt. Sanatana Goswami said, what can I do? What do you want? So there was a wealthy salt merchant. This is a picture of the Jamuna. It's a long story, but this is Mathura, which is Agra. Agra's downriver from Brindavan. This is in 1850s, a watercolor. So it gives you an idea of what it looks like. So from the Himalayas, where they were getting salt, there was a merchant with a whole boatload of salt, good profit to make, sailing down the Jamuna. But he got stuck on a sandbar right out in the Jamuna, right out in front of. So he got off his boat looking for help. There's Krishna, Madan Mohan, playing as a cowherd boy, says, can you get some villagers to help me? Madan Mohan, as a cowherd boy, said, no, you go ask Sanatana Goswami. He's the unofficial mayor. He'll help you. The merchant goes up, sees this elderly Sanatana Goswami absorbed in meditation. Krishna's there as a cowherd boy with his little cowherd boy friends. The man explains his condition to Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami says, you pray to this young boy. You just pray to this boy. So the man's completely bewildered. The boy says, Krishna, as a cowherd boy, you go see the old man. The old man says, you go to this little boy. So he's so charmed and bewildered, he just folds his hands and prays. Huge rainstorm comes. Jamuna fills with water. The boat is freed from the sandbar, and the man sails down the river, sells his salt for a huge profit in Agra. But he was so moved, he came back and gave the money to build the temple for Madan Mohan. Now, simultaneously, Akbar, we were talking about, the Akbar was the emperor of all of northern India, all the way up Afghanistan, all the way into Burma, dripping with pearls. When Queen Elizabeth, was dying from, whatever, so many different things, sanitation and cold, drafty castles, and perfume developed because if they bathed, they got disease, and bubonic plague, dark ages. Akbar, pinnacle of knowledge, culture, sophistication, public education, lighting system, sewer system, immaculate kingdom. All the way from Afghanistan, all the way to Burma. So just imagine. So when he had 9 jewels, we're not going to go too far off the field, but one of them was Man Singh, who was a powerful Vaishnava. He was the ruler of his army. Just like Alexander the Great. Anyway, just to say something about Man Singh, a Vaishnav king. His sword and he was about 6'6". His sword and his armor, we couldn't even swing. He had an arrow. He used to ride on a horse, and the Turkish soldiers, they had chain link mail protecting their head, armor, and so their head could move. There was a crack here to let the heat out, and so they could move, and there was cloth covering it. Man Singh had an arrow. You can see it in the Jaipur Palace, shaped like a crescent, razor sharp, at 300 feet or more. He could shoot that arrow, hit that crease, and cut their head off. That's I could tell you so many stories about Man Singh. Man Singh, great Vaishnava, devotee of Sanatana Goswami. He sent soldiers from his army, keep the soldiers busy, they're not on a campaign, and with the money from the salt merchant and the soldiers, they got all the craftsmen and they built the Madan Mohan temple. That's the story. So a little pinch of salt? No. All right, then I'll send a salt merchant and I'll build my own temple. This is Maharaja Akbar. You can do a Google on Akbar. This is Maharaja Akbar's order. This is the historical document. Now this one he's giving, it's a fatwa, a royal order. He's giving the land for the Govinda Ji Temple. Rupa Goswami's, the Maharaja Akbar. He also gave that red, it's called Bansi red, that sandstone that you see, that reddish brown sandstone. That was only used for royal buildings. It was like purple at one time, for the kings of England, only the king could have purple because it was very expensive and very rare. It was an insignia of royalty. That Bansi red sandstone was only for royal buildings. Akbar was so impressed that he gave the order for the land, and he also gave the permission for the sandstone. Real people, powerful people, when we read their books and following their tradition. So it was built from 1580 to 81. This is the Madan Mohan Temple on top of that hill. Just a few shots here. It was the first temple by the Goswamis built in Brindavan. The carving, it's the Indian Archaeological Society. It's considered a World Heritage Site. The carving is so exquisite. And as I said, it has this is the entrance. And you'll find that right over the entrance is a beautiful Ganesh. Just like we're going to have a beautiful Ganesh over here. Ganesh, he clears, all people are praying for material things and give me blessings and benedictions. It wears on him. But he likes to clear the path for devotees, to clear obstacles in their devotional service. So Rupa and Sanatana Goswami both had the Ganesh deities in that mood of clearing the path for devotees in their devotional service. So I mentioned about Damodar Chobe, lost his deity. Happy ending. All the Damodar Chobe came and was the pujari, and all of his descendants, and those descendants are still the pujaris for Madan Mohan. So everybody won out. Don't worry. Happy ending for everybody. Now,
Where is Madan Mohan now?
It's a good question. Just hang with me. So Aurangzeb was Kamsa come again. Aurangzeb was the grandson of Akbar. So many. Don't get me started. So many stories. But he, from his palace, his fort in Agra, I think it's about 30 miles, 29 miles, something like that. And it's not impossible. Sometimes on a clear day in Santa Barbara, 27 miles, you can see the lights of Avalon on the island Catalina. I used to see them from Laguna Beach. Sometimes you could see the lights. There's a lighthouse there. Anyway, on top of the Govinda Ji Temple, there was a huge light. What it actually was like in the old days, with mirrors and a fire, that's how they had a lighthouse. Big fire, and with the mirrors, and that would send that beam of light. Just try to understand the opulence of the Govinda Dev Temple. On the roof of the Govinda, on the top of the chakra, there was like a giant lighthouse dome area. And they had a huge ghee-wick, and with mirrors, it sent out this huge effulgence. Now, Aurangzeb, Kamsa, come again, fanatical, killed his brothers, imprisoned his father, just a monster. So Aurangzeb, learned person, was sitting on top of his palace, looking at the sky, looking at astronomy, and said, "What's that star I always see low in the horizon?" They said, No, that's not a star. That's the light on the Govinda Ji Temple. He was so envious, so angry that a so-called Hindu Vaishnav temple was so prominent that he sent his soldiers to attack. So that's attacked in 1748. Here's his red fort, very powerful person. They knocked off you can imagine, this is the Govinda Ji Temple. It was previously it was 7 stories, so here's 2, and it was 5 stories taller. Just imagine how beautiful. And if you look at, anyway, I don't want to get too far afield. So he sent his soldiers, and they took off the first 5 stories. They attacked Govinda Ji Temple first, because that's why he was so angry. Then they went to Madan Mohan Temple. Do I have a picture here? So this is painting 1871. What happened was that because he was going to attack all the Brindavan temples, there was an earthquake. It's recorded. And the whole ground began to shake. They were so freaked that the Muslim soldiers left. And they only were able to knock off the top of the chakra and the very, very top of the shikar of the Madan Mohan temple. But then the earthquake came and they freaked and left. But Maharaj Jai Singh, remember we had Man Singh, who the king of Jaipur, whose army helped build the temple. There's a cemetery here. His great-grandson was Jai Singh, just as Akbar, who gave the permission, his grandson was Aurangzeb. So Jai Singh, so powerful. This is Jaipur. It's surrounded by mountains. Previously, these mountains were covered with hills. These hills were covered with trees. They were beautiful forests, even with the British. They were the royal hunting grounds full of tigers and deer. Now the whole thing's become defoliated, and but if you go to Jaipur, it's surrounded by these huge hills. It's desert on one side, and there's only one pass in. And when you get inside, it was a beautiful green oasis with lakes, and so that was the capital. It was the Mughal rulers never conquered Jaipur. So that's how powerful. Let me tell you so many stories. He used to sit on top, that very, very top. There's a telescope. Jaipur was the original one. It was built all according to Vastu Silpa Shastra. It was a beautiful city. The British couldn't believe it, and at the center, it was all done by concentric circles, and when you get to the center is the king's palace. But you know what the center of the king's palace is? The temple of Govinda Ji, Rupa Goswami's Govinda Ji deity, is right at the center. And Jai Singh and his descendants used to sit at the very top there with a French telescope and sight. And there's beautiful gardens and fountains, and at the end is a beautiful pavilion, and there was Govinda Dev. And he would, after he turned things over to his son, and in his spare time, he would just sit there with a telescope and watch the puja and chant japa. That's a Vaishnav king. These people in our line. So here's a picture of Maharaj Jai Singh. Now, the king of Karoli, Gopal Singh, I think is his name. You'll see a map where is Karoli, because this answers your question. The king of Karoli. So when Aurangzeb attacked, Jai Singh, they're on the ball. He's got his spies and he's getting his army ready. He knows what's. Jai Singh swooped in and saved the deities. There's a whole story. We'll do some other time about the deities. But he saved the deities, and he brought Govinda Dev, Rupa Goswami's, and Gopinath also. It's a number of deities, but he also brought Madan Mohan to Jaipur. So Madan Mohan was safe in Jaipur. Now, the king of Karoli has a dream, because Karoli is called Greater Brindavan. Madan Mohan was in Jaipur, but he was missing Brindavan. So he appeared into a dream to the king, the Maharaja of Karoli, and said, I want to come to your temple. I want to come to you. Gopal Singh said, Maharaj, Jai Singh is never going to let you go. He's attached to you. He said, no. You offer your son's hand in wedding, in marriage, and you say, all I want is the deity, and we'll make an arrangement. Don't worry, just go do it. So, and this is Karoli, the entrance to the Maharaja's palace. It's called, there it is, Greater Brindavan. It's a whole story. It's a wonderful place. This is Gopal Singh. So what happened is that he made the offer, said he came to him in a dream. He wants to come. Just to ease the thing, I'll give you my son. Now, when they get married, the bride goes to the husband's house. That's the tradition. The princess said, I'm not going. I won't leave without Madan Mohan. She was so attached to the deity. So you've got this whole mix, Jai Singh, what to do. Now he's got the wedding, but his daughter won't leave, but he's got to give the deity, and he doesn't want to give himself. So what did he do? He said, all right, I'm going to put 3 deities together, 3 same size. I'm going to blindfold you. And if blindfolded, you can tell which one is Madan Mohan, you can have him. I can understand he wants to go. So blindfolded, Gopal Singh immediately, like a beeline, because Krishna's in his heart, gave him a whoosh, and he embraced the lotus feet of Madan Mohan. So Madan Mohan went to Karoli. He's in Karoli now. And it's described in the wedding procession, big hoopla. You can imagine a princess of the daughter of the king of Jaipur is married the son of the king of Karoli. Big festival. But the princess was such a nice devotee, where the bride is supposed to be, nice palanquin surrounded with band and everything. She put Madan Mohan, and she walked behind humbly, just offering flowers and prayers. That's a Vaishnav queen, Vaishnav princess. So here's a map. You can see there's Mathura, Brindavan. Here's Jaipur, to give you an example. And Karoli, it's about, anyway, whatever. You just go out, you take a T down to Karoli, and you have to come back, and then you go on to Jaipur. Just to give you a flavor. So we should remember our tradition. And when we hear from Sanatana Goswami, we hear from Rupa Goswami, we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is powerful. These are real people who rock the world. Just like Krishna says to Arjuna, says to Sita, Devala, Narada, Vyas, don't just take my word. These great people have accepted Krishna. So these are the kind of people that read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and serve Rupa and Sanatana Goswami and were Vaishnavas. So, this is his bedroom quarters, and from there you can see everything. Now, he built in the center of his palace a temple for Madan Mohan. So if you come in, there was a special darshan area for the princesses. They could come directly from the palace. If you cheat and go up, you can see where they used to come in and through the grill work. They could see Madan Mohan and all the puja. So this is in the mandap, or the pavilion in front of the deity. So this is in Karoli. We're moving into Madan Mohan. Here we're moving into the altar, just like Jai and Vijay, but they're dressed as Rajput princes. They've come in the mood of, Rajasthan. So it's Jai and Vijay as Rajput princes. And it's such a sweet temple. This is a very rare photo. It took me 5 years to find this photo. It's a whole story in and of itself. But this is Madan Mohan, how he's being worshipped in Karoli. And Mukunda, you went with me, right? You can confirm. Very happy pujaris. You give like 100 rupees. How much did we give them? Yeah, like 100 rupees is, how much is 100? It's not even $10. It's like $8. What is $7? Huh? Oh, it's $1.50. Sorry. And you get enough prasadam for 2 men. Tons, all cooked in ghee, opulent, first class. So they're very, very happy. He's being worshipped very nicely. These are all descendants of Damodar Chobe and different Brahminical lines. And I don't know if you can see, but they fully recognize our Gaudiya lineage in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is a huge, when you go around the Parakampath, around the deity, in the back, same thing in Govinda Ji Temple. There's this beautiful painting of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So they fully recognize the lineage. So it's said that the perfect darshan is to see the lower torso of Madan Mohan. How do you approach Krishna? You approach via the feet, sambandha, understanding, okay, how do things actually relate? You say, I'm spirit soul, Nitai Sub Krishna Das, material world, spiritual world. You understand it. When you understand sambandha, then you can begin to act on that platform, which is abhideya. And when you understand things and act on that platform, in due course, there's prayojana, fruit. So these 3 deities, I'm going quick. These 3 deities, Madan Mohan is sambandha. You worship him to approach devotional service. And then Govinda, Jaipur, Rupa Goswami's, is abhideya. And Gopinath is the prayojana, fruit. So seeing all 3 deities is considered, maybe it's folklore, but that's what they say. But at least the 3 are there mentioned. All of these, I'm trying to get you to go back and read Chaitanya Charitamrita, because these are intimate. There's those wonderful verses by Krishnadas Kaviraj explaining, we'll get there. So Govinda Dev Abhideya in Jaipur, and this is Gopinath Prayojana face, and they're all there in Jaipur. We chant this mantra, and Krishnaya, that's Madan Mohan, Govinda, Rupa Goswami's Govinda Dev, and Gopijana Vallabha. We could say a lot about that mantra, but some other time. So there's also the original temple desecrated. Behind it, if you go to Brindavan, when you go to Brindavan, there's a beautiful, the Madan Mohan temple, they call it the new Madan Mohan temple. So they have a Utsav deity made in the same style. What is it? There's a name for that. Starts with a P. It's a representative and yeah, Pratibha. So it's the same deity, Shakti. It's an expansion. That's the word I'm looking for. So that deity is there, beautiful, and the temple is paka, nice, clean, really nice standard of worship. So the Pratibha deity is there in the replica deity is there in Brindavan, beautiful little temple, actually nice sized temple, and the original deity is now in Karoli. So just quickly, where are we time-wise? We're going to go for another 5-6 minutes. It's all right. So for those who don't know, there was a robber wanted to steal. He heard that Sanatana Goswami had a touchstone. Touchstone turns anything, or maybe bell metal or anything, into gold. I don't know exactly. Never having had one, I don't know exactly how they work. But the principle is they can turn things into gold. So the robber came, asked Sanatana Goswami for the touchstone. Sanatana Goswami easily gave it. I don't know the history. I'll find out sometime how he got it on this. But he gave it to the robber. Robber got 10 steps away and said, wait a minute. If he's giving me this thing so casually, just keeping it on a shelf, maybe he's got something that turns things into diamonds. So he came back and said, hey, listen, you've given me this, but you must have something more valuable. Sanatana Goswami said, oh, yes. I have something endlessly more valuable. What is that? What's that gold going to get you? So, well, give it to me. He said, and Sanatana Goswami said, first you've got to throw, and he made him throw his touchstone into the Jamuna. He threw the touchstone into the Jamuna, and he gave him the Hare Krishna mantra. Ultimately, he became a very nice sadhu by chanting. So it transforms us, our heart, everything. The Hare Krishna mantra is the best touchstone. We're almost at the end now. In his old age, still he was doing 1,008 obeisances. I can barely do 3 obeisances a day, and it kills me. So just imagine, he was an old man. So 1,008 obeisances and circumambulated Govardhan Hill every day. This is the Govardhan Parikram path. And it's no small task. This is a picture of, it shows you at Govardhan Hill how it's laid out. I think it's, how long is 24 miles around is the Parikram path? Huh? Okay, so you can imagine so now it's 24. And that's the shortened version. Because, anyway, we'll roll on. Sufficient to say, no small distance, and he wouldn't give it up. Krishna appeared to him personally and said, please, you're an old man. It breaks my heart to seeing you do this. I'm not going to go to Mangalarti. I'm going to skip Bhagavatam class. I'm going to go shopping instead of go to Bhagavatam class. What is this nonsense? Whatever. You call it Krishna light, the 3 regular principles. You can choose which one you want to give up. But if we want Krishna, it's described that the vows of Sanatana Goswami were like lines on a stone. So he wouldn't give it up. Krishna appeared before him and said, please. He wouldn't give it up. Krishna played his flute, put his foot on a Govardhan Shila, and his footprint went into that stone. And he told Sanatana Goswami, you just offer obeisances and circumambulate this stone. It's as good as Govardhan Hill. So Sanatana Goswami accept that, they mediated and came to a conclusion, consensus. So that it's in the Radha Damodar temple, the pujaris, whatever. If you give them a little something, they'll bring out the stone and you can have the darshan of that. It's Krishna's footprint, and that was in the care of Sanatana Goswami. These are just some of the books, Brihad Bhagavatam Gita, Hari Bhakti Vilas. Each one of these is a treasure trove of instruction and Leela, and Krishna Leela Stava is just a summary of Krishna's pastimes in the Bhagavatam. You want to just read something completely sweet? Anyway, Brihad Bhagavatam, anyway. So those original books of Sanatana Goswami, this is the Grantha Samaj in Brindavan. The original palm leaf books are inside this samadhi. You can go there and offer and pray. You go there and pray. Let me absorb these teachings. Let me become a good representative. Let me learn to preach. And it happens. It's reciprocal. This Brindavan and these places are holy places. And they're special portals which spiritual potency flows in the right mood, in the right way, not staying for whatever. Don't get me started. But if you go in the right mood, great potency. This is the Sanatana Goswami entered in Samadhi in 1558 at 70 years old. This is his Samadhi. You'll see where it is in a minute, but the mood there is so sublime. This is the interior of his Samadhi. This is the portrait of Sanatana Goswami inside the Samadhi. That exterior and the whole thing was renovated by ISKCON devotees. And this is, if you look down from the hill from Madan Mohan, if you look down at Sanatana Goswami's Samadhi, his Samadhi, as it should be, is at the feet of his beloved Madan Mohan. Just like Prabhupada, he's at the feet of, his beautiful Krishna Balaram, Radhashama Sundar. We just have a few more slides. So we are following in the footsteps of these great acharyas of Sanatana Goswami. And how to fulfill their desire, how to get close to them, how to open that portal so their mercy and potency flows. It's not complicated. Just as Prabhupada, this is Rupa Goswami appearing to Prabhupada, it's a whole story. Just write these books. And what did Prabhupada do? He wrote them, and then he came, with his suitcase, boxes, the books, in those metal trunks on the Jaladuta, and his, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and some oats and Japamala, and off he went to a foreign land. So if we come absorbed in executing the order, the desire, the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Associates, we will become empowered. It will become realized. So here we say, with selfless dedication, we know Prabhupada's life, following in the mood of Sanatana Goswami. So if we want to associate with Sanatana Goswami, it's possible. He's completely open to all of us. We simply have to become absorbed in serving his mission and reading his books. And we can read his books. You read Prabhupada's books after you've read Srimad Bhagavatam 5 or 6 times, which you can do. I looked at you guys' schedule. You guys have oceans of time. Read the books. You just open Chaitanya Charitamrita, and there's Sanatana Goswami right there. Personal association. And you serve the mission of Sanatana Goswami as Prabhupada's ISKCON. So we can end there. All glories to Sanatana Goswami. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.